Welcome to Production Expert, my name's Dan Cooper. Today we're putting Ozone 9 Advanced through its paces. In this, iZotope have introduced some very cool new features and improvements, of which we're going to take a very quick look at in this video. Let's kick off by taking a look at some of the new stuff. Now, let's say you're about to master someone's track and you feel that the drums are perhaps not loud enough in the mix. You don't have the stems, so what do? Well, Ozone 9 has a solution. There's a new module here called Master Rebalance. We've seen this before in RX. It's very cool, but what does it sound like? First, let's drag it to the beginning of the chain. And it's worth mentioning that we can also adjust the level of vocal components and bass, so not just drums. Let's put it to work. Hear what it sounds like. Drums first. Let's increase the level of the drums. What if the drums are too loud? Let's lower them in the mix. Sounds alright. Let's move across to the vocal settings, see what we can do here. Let's increase the level. That's a really good job. I mean, to my ears, I can't hear any nasty artifacts. Let's lower the level. Very clever. How about the bass? That's very cool. That saves having to EQ the whole master if you felt that the bass was a bit weak. Back it off. Very nice indeed. Talking of bass though, there is also another new module called Low End Focus, which pretty much does what it says on the tin. Now, iZotope say that this can be used to enhance bass while taming typical issues such as boomy bass guitars. We've got punchy and smooth modes down here, contrast and gain. And here we can focus where the processing is going to happen. I'm going to keep it on punchy. I'm going to play the track again, I'm going to increase the gain. And what we're going to hear is the thump of the mix come through without the low ends becoming flabby and muddy. Right, we can audition to help us hone in. Let's go for that. Increase the gain. Maybe you got a track that's got too much low end thump and use this to help reduce that a bit. It's nice, it's a different way to concentrate the bass, but without having to reach for EQ. Now, something that I didn't like about previous versions of Ozone was that we could only use a limited number of modules at the top. Now, in Ozone 9, we can, if we wish, load multiple. I say multiple, you could load all of the modules. Very cool. But doing this may max out your CPU resources. You have been warned. Now, as we all know, EQ plays a massive role in mastering. One of the biggest challenges when EQing a track in a master is matching the timbre of one mix to another. If this is something that you struggle with, then Ozone has a very cool feature that may help you along called Match EQ. Let's put it to work. Hear what it can do. So the song that I've got here, I like the tone, but it's not exactly working with this other track that I want to master it up against. This one's got a fuller sound in the low ends, and I'd like my first master to kind of match that tonally. So I'm going to run my second mix through this and hit capture and play. See that it's pretty much got a profile there. Hit stop, go back to my previous master, hit capture, hit play again. Just in case you've missed what I've done there, I've played both mixes through the same instance here of Ozone. I'll let that play through for a little bit. Hit stop. And we have this new curve here. And we can push this to match the EQ a little bit more. We can pronounce the curve. We can smooth that curve out or have it really detailed. Choice is yours. As you heard there, the playback can get a little bit jittery, so you want to set the amount when not in playback, otherwise the jittery artifacts could become a little bit distracting to the ear. Let's do a quick A/B between those two masters and hear if indeed the EQ has been matched between the two. Exaggerate this a little bit more. Bypass. It does all right. If you need to match the tone of one track to another, this will get the job done quite quickly. Now, one of the biggest improvements that iZotope have put into Ozone 9 is to be found up here, the Master Assistant. Here you will find a few more options. The main one being this, the vintage mode. Very cool. There's a few more loudness options in there as well. To put it in vintage, we could reference the loudness from another song, another mix. We're not going to in this video. Keep it on streaming. Let's hear what this can do out of the box. Click next and play. Okay, now to be able to really hear what Ozone has done, we need to hit gain match. Now we can bypass. We can really hear the difference in tone without any pesky level differences. Now it's worth mentioning that any of the assistants in the iZotope family of plugins, maybe Nexa, Neutron, RX or Ozone, are really only ever intended to be suggestions and starting points for you to either consider expanding on or ignore altogether. The choice is yours. Personally, I quite like the assistant. If I find I'm a little bit stuck for a creative idea when it comes to the mix or the master, it at least points me in a general direction. For more information about what's new and included in both Ozone 9 and Ozone 9 Advanced, and also to find out our verdict on this product, do click the card at the top right of the screen or the link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.